Okay, boys and girls, we are working on 7-11, and on this one, we're going to be working on writing mixed numbers as decimals. Remember, a mixed number is when I have a whole number and a fraction, just like this. So we're going to work on these today. So, I'm going to give you some mixed numbers and we're going to practice changing them. So your first mixed number is going to be 3 and 2/10. Remember, this 3 represents whole. So I have 3 wholes. This 2 is the part or the fraction or the decimal. So it's not a full whole. So remember, when I am creating a decimal, on the left of the decimal, I have my whole numbers, and on the right of the decimal, I have my decimals or fractions. So I have 3 wholes, so I'm going to put it on the left of the decimal. Then I have this fraction 2/10. I need to turn it to its decimal form. I put a decimal point, I put a line for the tenths place because the 10 tells me it's in the tenths place, and I put the 2 on top. So now I can transfer that down right here. So my decimal becomes 3 and 2/10, just like this. Okay? Let's take another one. Let's do 5 and 7/100. Remember, my 5 is a what? Is it a whole or a decimal? It's a whole. My 7/100 is a decimal, or that fraction, or the part. It's part of a whole, but it's smaller than a whole. So I draw my decimal point. Anything to the left is whole numbers. Anything to the right is the decimals, or the numbers that are smaller than one whole. So I have 5 wholes, so I'm going to put it in front. Now I need to change this 7/10, or not 7/10, 7/100 to a decimal. So I put a decimal, I'm in the hundredths place, so that means I put my tens, hundredths, and I need to put my 7 on top. Is that 7? No. This number would be 70, so that's not right. I need to put a 0 in front and 7. Does that number look like 7 now? Yes, it does. So I bring it down and put it on the right side. So my decimal becomes 5. Oh, my bad. Give me a second. I forgot an important part. There we go. So my decimal becomes 5 and 7/100, just like that. Okay, remember, it's really important. Anything to the left is a whole number, anything to the right is the decimal. And the trickiest part will probably be that conversion. I think a lot of you are getting it. If you need help, please reach out to me. I'm so willing to help you anytime you need it. Okay, so let's do one together. You watched me, so now let's do one together. Let's do 17 and 21/100. Okay, find the whole number. You should have found that the whole number was 17. Now find the fraction or the decimal, or the numbers that are smaller than a whole. Yep, you should find that was 21/100. So I draw a decimal point. What do I put to the left of the decimal? Whole numbers, you're correct. What do I put to the right of the decimal? the fractions or the decimals, the numbers that are smaller than the whole. So, do I have to change anything about 17, or is it good? You're right, it's good. So I just write it down. There's nothing I have to fix about it. The whole numbers are always perfect. We don't have to change anything. Now this fraction, though, I need to change into a decimal. I look at my denominator. It tells me I'm in the hundredths place. So I put my decimal point, and I put my tenths and my hundredths. Now I take my numerator of 21 and bring it over, and I'm going to write it on top, making sure I have one digit on each, keeping them in the right order. So I bring it down, and I write the decimal right after. So this decimal now is 17 and 21 hundredths. Just like that. Now I want you to try a few on your own. Okay, so you're trying a few on your own. So let's do 35 and 71 hundredths. Okay, try this one on your own. Pause the video. When you're ready, turn it back on. Okay, so I'm going to label my wholes. And I'm going to label my fractions so I keep them separate. I put my decimal point. Anything to the left are whole numbers. Anything to the right are the decimals or the fractions or the numbers that are smaller than one whole. So now what I do is I don't have to change anything about my whole number. It's perfect. So I put it on the side of the wholes. My fraction I do have to change. I have to change it to a decimal. So I can tell I'm in the hundredths place because of the denominator. So I put my decimal and I draw a line for my tenths place and draw a line for my hundredths. Take my 71 and I bring it and I put it on top. So I keep them in the right order, just like that. And now I can fill them in down here. So this fraction has now become, or mixed number has now become 35 and 21 hundredths in its decimal form. It's the same, oh, I said 71, but I wrote 21. There we go. Oh, I wrote 21 there too. What's wrong with me? Oops, wrong color. There we go. Man, I'm struggling. Okay, let's try one more. Try this one on your own again. Do 40 and 6 hundredths. So you should pause the video, try it on your own. When you're ready, turn it back on and check your work. Okay, 40 is my whole number. 6 hundredths is my fraction. I know now, anything to the left is a whole number. Anything to the right is that decimal or those numbers that are smaller than one whole. So I bring the 40 down. I don't have to change anything about it. It is perfect the way that it is. I do have to change my fraction. I know I'm in the hundredths place. So I drew my decimal point, tenths, hundredths, and I write my 6 down. And that is not correct because I'd have to fill in right here, and that would say 60, not 6. And I want to make sure I say 6 hundredths. So I put a 0 first, and the 6. Now this can represent 6. So I bring it down, and I write it out just like that. So I now have 40 and 6 hundredths in its decimal form. I hope this helped, guys. If you need help, message me on Google Hangouts and we can call or chat. Bye, guys.